Chapter 133. I can't believe such a grand mansion exists in the world. The capital is truly impressive. The imperial palace is even larger, sister Ever. There, an entire wall is the palace. Really? It's hard to even imagine. Yidhir silently watched Ever and Kana, who seemed to be enjoying themselves. Today was an important day when Kishir finally set foot in the Apeto mansion. Normally, befitting a duke's procession, many would follow behind him, but Kishir brought only 7 cavalry members, including Yidhir, Kana, Ever, Jimmy, Gakane, and the elder siblings, and his adjutant Nathan Zuckerman. It was an exceedingly small number for an official visit by a duke. The reason for such a small number was simple. The Apeto family had notified Kishir of a limit on the number of people he could bring. Although it was a petty scheme intended to humiliate him, Kishir had enjoyed the restriction, personally selecting those he would bring. If they are going to impose such a limitation, then we should bring those who appear to be the least threatening. In fact, it would be easier for us to do what we must do there if we appear harmless. Thus, the selected cavalry members, unsure of the criteria by which they were chosen, were inside the Apeto mansion, enjoying the beautiful view of the garden from the reception room. The magnificent garden, as if actual nature had been transplanted, was more dazzling than even the imperial palace's garden. It was a sight that could easily tire one's eyes and a testament to the power of the dukedom. You all are enjoying the refreshments. Feel free to ask for more once you finish. Don't hesitate to eat as much as you'd like. Can we really? Kishir, who was elegantly sitting in the center of the reception room, watching the members chattering, kindly opened his mouth after noticing the snack plate quickly emptied. Seeing Jimmy, who couldn't put down his fork out of regret, Nathan, who had been standing behind Kishir, mentioned to the Apeto family servant, who was growing weary, "Please bring more snacks." Understood. As soon as Kishir and his party arrived, the Apeto family had led them to the reception room and then left them alone for over an hour. Despite a situation that would usually provoke rage, the servants of the Apeto family were growing increasingly frustrated by the calm and carefree cavalry members who were eating snacks, admiring the garden, and chatting. Even without guidance on how to handle such a situation, they are all managing well on their own. Yidhir watched fondly as the elder siblings played, carelessly breaking various items. Jimmy ate snacks earnestly, and Gakane joined Ever and Kana, enjoying a lively chat. He couldn't help but wonder how infuriated the Duke of Apeto, who had left them alone, must be by now. Kishir too had a full smile on his face, likely harboring a similar thought. The tea tastes especially good today. I'm glad you think so. Did everyone check whether the map drawn by Reverend aligns with the actual location of the buildings? Hiding his lips slightly behind a teacup, Kishir asked in a relaxed tone. Yidhir nodded, glancing briefly at the huge window where Ever and Kana were standing. We checked as soon as we arrived. The window location provides a good view of the entire mansion. It's just like the esteemed Apeto dukedom's mansion. They certainly know how to treat guests. I agree with you. At Yidhir's calm response, Kishir laughed softly. Everyone has reviewed the plan I handed out yesterday, right? Of course. Your role is the most critical, but remember, there's no need to overdo it. Kishir had gathered the members the night before to explain their duties at the Apeto mansion, in order to deal with various issues as quickly as possible at the Apeto mansion. The 7 members each had a distinct role. Yidhir had been assigned the most crucial role, that of locating and aiding the escape of the captured awakeners. Here, as requested, I have bought more snacks. As Idir was reviewing his tasks for the day, a servant cautiously approached the table, carrying a bowl piled high with pastries. Wow, these look delicious. Jimmy's eyes lit up with anticipation. The boy, who had been growing rapidly since his second gender manifestation, was displaying an appetite that was several times more robust than before. Is the Duke of Apeto still not ready? Kishir addressed the servant, who was hastily attempting to retreat after setting down the pastry bowl. The servant, hoping Kishir wouldn't kill him out of anger, cautiously repeated the response he had been instructed to give. Yes, His Grace is unfortunately feeling unwell, so his preparations are taking longer than anticipated. I see. What about my dear temporary member, Prince Revlin? Kishir's casual mention of the third prince's name, as though referring to a pet, sent a chill down the servant's spine. Prince Revlin is also taking a long time to prepare. It's been an hour. Yes, he's frail, so we can't rush him. The moment Kishir let out a sigh that sounded more like a groan, the servant squeezed his eyes shut. If he gave such a response to the Duke at the Apeto mansion, he wouldn't have a word to say for himself if he ended up dead with his head smashed against a wall. Recently, many of the servants serving the Duke had been severely injured and replaced. The servant thought that Kishir wouldn't be any different, but all he heard was the rustle of clothing as Kishir stood from the seat. Can't be helped then. I have waited as long as I could. I will have to go and meet them myself. Pardon? Kishir spoke softly, but his voice contained an undeniable power. I am a busy man. I have waited as long as I can. Now it's time to take action. Caught off guard, the servant shook his head desperately. It's not possible. Duke Apeto is still not. I originally came to see my member, not the Duke of Apeto. Tell the others when they are ready to come to where I am. Step aside. Don't block the Duke's way. At Nathan Zuckerman, Kishir Adjutant's light instruction, the path was cleared and Kishir began to stride forward. His members, as if they had been waiting, uniformly followed him. What a shame. I wanted to eat more. I almost died waiting for you to move. Are we really going to search for Prince Revlin now? Their comments lacked manners, but there was an unexpected weight to them, impossible to imagine from the people who had just been lazing around. Unconsciously, the servant backed away at their energy, breaking out into a cold sweat. This can't be. By the time he managed to collect himself and evacuate the desolate reception room, the entourage of Duke Paleta had long since disappeared from sight. It was an urgent situation. The servant dashed off to report the situation. I will go find Revlin right away. Exiting the reception room, Kishir walked briskly, only looking straight ahead as he spoke. Everyone remembers how to signal in an emergency situation? Yes. Remember, your safety and life are more important than this mission. Now, let's split up and move. As soon as he finished speaking, Kishir smoothly turned his body toward the appearing staircase. Nathan, Kana, Jimmy, and the elder siblings followed his lead, changing direction. Yudhid did not watch them disappear, but continued walking down the hallway before turning in a completely different direction. He felt the presence of Ever and Gakane following him. Using the information Revlin had written in his letters, they cunningly avoided people's eyes and descended. Before they exited the main building entrance, they nearly encountered a servant, but they hid in the next room, pretending to be the newly arrived workers, and made loud conversation. The server walked past their room without a suspicion and disappeared. Revlin had informed them that due to the Duke's ill-tempered nature and Lenore, the servants of Apeto House changed quite frequently. Thus, the servants of the Apeto house did not pay much attention when they heard unfamiliar voices or sensed unfamiliar presences. Uther, who safely left the main building, quickly checked the shortcut mark to the annex and started to move, speaking to the two behind him. Once we reach the annex, we will first check if there's anyone inside. Action comes after. According to the plan, Ever was to go up to the third floor of the annex to rescue Dandelion, and Gakane was to go downstairs to find traces and evidence of the Awakeners. We understand. As soon as we rescue him, we go straight to the agreed upon place to join up, right? Ever pulled at the tip of her combat gloves as she asked lightly. The sky blue gloves, made from a special monster skin, were a piece of protective gear specially made for her ahead of this festival. That's right, if Dandelion doesn't listen. You said to make him faint quickly before our eyes met. I'm confident. Eva shook her fingers lightly with a smile. No one could have guessed her power from her seemingly innocuous appearance.